welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be swatching these matte hop pens from Pentel. I actually saw these on an Instagram ad, and then Jet Pens that I follow them on YouTube. This was actually one of their top rated pens of spring, so I guess I was a little ahead of the curve that I bought them. So let's see if I can tell you a little bit about these. They're supposed to have like almost like a velvety look to them. So that's what they look like on the video. I was kind of curious what they would look like in person. But just ignore the little random spider crawling around on my desk. Oh god. So I bought the original plus suite set, which is 14 pens. You can get those separately if you don't want all the colors, but I just decided that I would, so I would get all of them. So you have red, yellow, blue, green, orange, violet, black, pink, yellow, orange, sky blue, yellow, green, coral pink, ivory white, and brown. These have a 1mm ball tip, and I think I did buy these from Amazon, not Jet Pens. I love Jet Pens, but they can be pricey on some things. So like certain markers, I would probably recommend you get from Amazon or Target, because there have been some things I bought from Jet Pens that later on I went back and was like, oh, actually I could have got this cheaper. And then there are some things I can only get from Jet Pens. So like my fountain pen, my original one that I purchased from Jet Pens, and then I mentioned this in another video, I let someone borrow it and they lost it within an hour of borrowing it, so I had to buy another one, and I found this one on Amazon for about $5 less, but it also was a return, so it was a little cheaper than what I paid on Jet Pens. I think on Jet Pens I might have paid $15. So moving on, I did get these from Amazon. Let's open them up, spread them out, and just take a look at them before I swatch them. Alright, so here's all 14 colors that come in the box. I've always hated these kind of boxes, even as a kid when they put Crayolas in here, because I always feel like I can never open them right and always wind up ripping the box. It took a lot of effort to get this out, but here we are. So let's take a look at one. So you have your Pentel Matte Hop K10110. It's a plastic top. It says that it's 1mm. I'm trying to see if the color is on the pen. I do have new glasses on, so I'm trying to see. That says recycleology. That doesn't say a pen color. On the barrel, we have, it just says Pentel Japan K24. So there are no markings to tell you what color it is. So we're going to do some guesstimations. We should be able to guess correctly, I'm hoping, about what color is what. So there's your 1mm head. Very slim barrel, not slimmer than normal. It's a normal barrel, so nothing unusual here. Plastic, there's no like comfort grips or anything, it's just straight plastic, and that's it. So let's move these to the side and we'll swatch them out. Okay, those are all 14 colors of the Matte Hop original and sweet set of pens. So, first impressions. The good things I'll say is they are the ink is very juicy. There are nice colors here. I will say there's going to be a learning curve with these. So you may have noticed as I was swatching that some of the pens were skipping. It's skipping because it requires a certain type of touch, because it's kind of like, how can I describe it? It's like you're writing with a ballpoint pen, but the ink is coming out like a marker. So it's like you're trying to figure out what's the right amount of pressure to put on the page. So it's going to require some getting used to like how you have to put it on the page so that the ink flows nicely. I could easily see these pooling up if you're not careful because of how the ink comes out. That being said, that means they're also probably a little on the wet side, like you see there. So if you're using these, you have to be careful of touching the paper as you're writing, because they're wet. You know, it's like, my thought was as I was swatching is like, if you've watched some of my videos before, when I talk about markers, I'll be like, oh, this is really juicy. It was like that same kind of sensation of it being really, really juicy, but coming out of a ballpoint pen, which is really weird. So it's like I'm writing with kind of a light hand, but it's like if I'm too light, like you'll see it skip. Like if I'm too light, the ink doesn't come out. But then I have to be careful not to be too heavy, because then the ink will pool and then you'll get the smudginess, like I say here. Like I said, this is a wet ink. Like I can tell that's still wet. So you're gonna have to be aware of that again as you're writing, so that you're not smudging while you're writing. So they're pretty. They dry down nicely. The colors are pretty. And I don't think that the learning curve is one that you couldn't figure out. I think it's just that going into this, you have to kind of be aware that these flow a little bit differently. And kind of keep that in consideration, because like I said, there's going to be smudginess in these. Are they given like a velvety texture? I mean, yes and no. There is a matteness to them, but I think it's like, I'm trying to think of a way to explain this. It's like they're ballpoint pens, but they're kind of performing like a gel pen. I think that's the best way to say it. Like they're ballpoint pens, but the ink looks like gel pen ink. So like this is my fountain pen, and like how a fountain pen lays down ink, like actual wet ink, it feels like that. I don't have one of my Staples pens on my desk because I would use that as an example too. It's just it feels like a ballpoint pen that's actually putting out gel ink. That's the best way I can describe it. I think I have to play with these. I think that's what I would say. I have to play with them. I think I have to play with them to figure out what I would use them for, because my concern about the moistness would be like, well, if I was writing in my journal, I had to be highly concerned about smudging. But for detailed work and something artistic, I might feel more comfortable like using these for line work or for like dotted details and things like that. I might feel like that's okay. So I gotta think about it a little bit. But those are just my first impressions on them. I do like the colors. I just think like there's a little bit of a learning curve to figure out what pressure you need so that they're not skipping on the page. And I think it's pretty clear which colors are which. Like, I didn't have any problems like figuring out like, oh, this is yellow orange, this is pink, this is coral pink. I think the barrels are clear enough that you can tell which color is which, and you don't really need the names on the barrel. It's always nice to have them, but it didn't hinder me from figuring out which was which. So I think that's all I got. Yeah, I think that's all I got. I would probably say I feel neutral about them versus like I don't like them, because I don't think it's that I don't like them. I think it's that it's not what I expected. I think that's the best way to put it. It's not what I expected. So I'm going to play with these a little bit, but I've swatched them for you if you're interested in them, and to see like if this fits into your stationery collection or your art supply collection. But other than that, as always, thank you for spending time with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.